Yo, what it do, baby? How y'all doing today, man? My name is Brennan. I'm here with...
Yeah, I know. You already know.
And we're here with another episode of Show Me Sports, the intersection of sports and culture with just a little bit of Midwest flair. You hear me? Gotta throw that in there. We're going to talk about a bunch of topics today, particularly one of the bigger trades in recent years in the offseason of the NFL, the updates on the Aaron Rodgers saga up there in Green Bay, and a couple of other things. But first, we just wanted to go over a couple of the topics and takes that we took last week and see if we were hot or if we were cold. A segment we call Hot or Cold. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to just talk about some things we said last week and see if they really landed the way we wanted them to. You ready to go, man?
Let's rock. You already know I'm ready.
How you doing, man? You got your macchiato over there?
Hey, this is not a caramel macchiato. This is a frappuccino vanilla. I always come in here with one of these. I take one to work.
Yeah, bougie, man.
I ain't bougie, man. You just got to have good taste.
You got your Starbucks next to a lighter.
Listen, that's for later. After the show.
That's a sign of flexibility, folks.
No,
that means you could go out to that area, you could go down to that area.
Hey,
you could do both.
Hey, look, you said it, I didn't. You already know what's up.
All right, we're gonna hop right in. So last week, sadly for some, not so much for others, the LA Lakers went out in the first round. Brother LeBron James, he went out in the first round for the first time. Brother Brown lost. He was 14-0 in the first round until last week. They lost to the Suns in 6 games.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it was only going to go 6 after AD went down again. However, Yano had a feeling that Booker was due. Devin Booker was due.
I told you that. I said, man, the series is already in the balance, hanging in the balance, and he hadn't, really took that game over, and it was due. And if you look at how aggressive he was playing, you knew that it was eventually like, man, all it takes is one game, and he showed up, man. But I wasn't expecting for AD to go down, and that's why I said it was going to go 7. But I still thought the Suns would win because of the fact that Devin Booker is on the beginning side of his superstardom. And, the LeBron, as great as he is and who he was, he's not what he used to be. And I foresaw that coming already.
Yeah.
And,
he didn't look the same.
He didn't.
He didn't look I think he still was anticipating flipping that switch and just turning it on, that playoff mode mindset he had from 2 seasons ago. Mm-hmm. And I think he's starting to see like that switch.
This over with.
You gotta kind of. It's kind of like when you got the light switch. You kind of like over there. You fade it up.
Yeah, you gotta graze it up.
Yeah, it's not just a switch. You gotta kind of ease in. Like he gotta ease into playoff mode.
Yeah, I think the injury hurt him.
The injuries is messing him up.
It hurt him a lot. Messing up high ankle sprain. About a month going out of the playoffs. He sat out.
Yep.
I think that was huge, man. But, bro, looking at the numbers, though, man, you already knew it was bad. It was a bad combination. He was only averaging 24 points in the series, right? Mm-hmm. That's not even more than probably was averaging during the season. I'm not even going to get into that. He only was averaging 9 field goals a game. Mm-hmm. And he was only shooting 4 free throws a game, bro.
Yeah. He naturally defers, but that was still low for his standards.
But you're thinking if AD is hurt, he'd been hurt before the season, before the series started. He was already having a nagging injury. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, he didn't then assert himself to what we thought he would or what he needed to. You didn't see it. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? Shooting four free throws. Shooting 4 free throws a game. He was only making 2 of his 3 3-pointers a game. You're not stretching the floor. Mm-hmm. You're not getting to the line. You're not being aggressive.
Yeah.
And then if you look on the flip side, and some of the notes that I got, Devin Booker, he was averaging almost 3 threes a game in that series. That's a lot, because that means that for a good portion of the game, you gonna have to run out here and guard me. Mm-hmm. But then you turn on the flip side and say, hey, he wasn't only beating you by the 3 or being a threat, he was averaging 9 free throws a game. So now not only he's a double threat, you can't leave him out on the perimeter, but he's getting to the basket. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole different mindset And he was still grabbing 6 boards and throwing 5 dimes.
Yeah. I was surprised when I was looking at Booker's averages that, like, how good at rebounding he was. Because I haven't been tracking him like that.
Nobody
but
has.
He finished the game 47 points, 11, the closeout game, 47 points, 11 rebounds, and he was 8 for 10 from 3. Which he's not traditionally a 3-point shooter, but that's starting to become a regular part of his arsenal as well. So, like you said, it was about dude. That was a hot take for you.
Yeah.
It was on point.
Yeah.
But like both of us agree, I think LeBron naturally, like I said a minute ago, he's naturally a distributor and an organizer, so he doesn't mind deferring. But the aggression that we expected him to have in earlier years of his career, we can't expect that from him now.
Exactly.
He's not trying to go down there and bang. He's not trying to create contact.
He's whining after
he can.
plays
He's capable of doing it. He still has the physique and the ability to do it, but I had to remind myself, like,
the
I'm
stretch
not
of the time that he used to. LeBron could go on a stretch for when he can go in a game where it's just like he's unbelievable,
and people just don't want to move out the way because they don't want to deal with him. But now it's starting to flip a little bit.
Yeah,
it's starting to take its toll on his body. I really feel like I'm not saying he's towards the end of his career yet, but
he is. You can say it, bro.
I think he's got like 3 or 4 years left.
And when we say that, playing good basketball, but the LeBron James of what we used to expect is done. But I'm tired of people kind of be like, okay, because he's the GOAT or this and that. We don't say that. Like, man, people have a fall from where they were, a dip in their that glare or the glamour of what they used to be. People have dips, and that's what's going on, man.
But what I was going to say was, the reason I'm not saying he's toward, I don't want to definitively say he's toward the end of his career yet, is because there's still opportunity for him to hone in on the other aspects of his game that he does well. That's why you brought in another guy that's going to take the lead role in terms of scoring and producing, and you just fall back and be more of like Chris Paul was for the Suns.
Yeah.
Let Devin Booker have his 47. You just sit back there and ride the wave. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Tom Brady did with the Buccaneers. He wasn't the catalyst for them winning. It was the run game and it was the defense getting hot.
Yeah. And that's what we did expect. You're right.
So I think that he still has seasons left of playing at a high level. It's just he's not going to be able to do what he did best, which, like, that's why I said shout out to Skip. He's the greatest driver of the basketball in NBA history. He is.
Yeah.
But that aspect of your game at 36, 37, 38, that's going to disappear. Kobe reinvented himself. You know what I'm saying? He was above the rim most of his career, and then the end of his career, he was a deadly shooter. So I think
had that post up, footwork.
Yeah, and added all the other elements. Like he continued to learn all the way to year 20. So I think if LeBron can do that, they'll be fine. But now it's the matter of injuries and father time, like playing their role.
But the thing of it is, bro, is you said it exactly, father time. That's exactly what's going to cap. You got to look at everything. Look at their cap space. Look at who's on their team. Look at what's going on. For one, when he went to LA, he going on a 2-year deal, so he can technically opt out.
He ain't going nowhere.
I don't think he is. But what I'm saying is, if you look at the roster as what's constructed as well too, it's like it's
top heavy as shit.
It is, but it's not definitive
by design.
It's not definitive as to what the future is going to be. It's kind of like they were aiming for right now. They put all their eggs in one basket. Boom.
All the eggs what I mean? Cracked.
And they really didn't have a plan B or a long term plan outside of this LeBron AD window. And right now, AD not staying healthy. LeBron's injured. It ain't looking good, bro. And now we can get off on that a whole nother because I agree with that series, bro. Man, the West is getting tougher, man.
Yeah.
The West is getting tougher. You got teams on the come up like Memphis. They're 1 or 2 pieces away from being right there. And I feel like if Jaren Jackson played most of the season, they would have been higher up in the West. And I think that's a different animal as far as the matchups of who they could have went up against. You know what I mean? I think that 1-2 play-in games kind of kind of got them. And then, they made it in. But I think they got a bad matchup. Round 1.
Yeah.
With Utah round 1. I don't think that was a good matchup for them. But yeah, Utah. They're only gonna get better. They've been getting better. Phoenix, they're getting better. The Lakers are stuck, bro.
Yeah. It's kind of, I'm looking at the sports landscape as a whole, and a lot of the stars that I won't say I grew up watching, but came of age watching in my teenage years and early 20s, like, they're all in their mid to late 30s now. And they're not so much, I'm not going to say they're not competing for championships, but they kind of understand their mortality. Like we were rapping with Lenny earlier about Federer in tennis. He ended up withdrawing from the French Open after the 4th round, and he was winning very well, but he's coming off surgeries and he's 39 years old. So he's listening to his body and he's like, this ain't my best tournament. I need to go ahead and pull out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of stars are recognizing their mortality, and it's just kind of, I don't want to say like the farewell tour, but we just got to enjoy what we getting from them for what it is. Not so much like championship or bust, even if they had that mentality. So,
take that.
Keeping it moving, Andy Dalton. Remember I mentioned him last week. I was like, I want to know what he would be thinking with this draft pick after they told him he was going to be QB1, because we hadn't heard him get interviewed, and then he got interviewed. Guess what he said?
He go ahead. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it
because I had to look up the exact quote because I didn't want to misquote.
Yeah, go ahead
and make him sound saltier than he probably
look. I had to say
sound.
that we live, we on camera. Yeah. I had to say this right now. When it comes to some Bears news, even though I'm a Bear fanatic, like Bears insider or whatever, you know. When it came to that quote, for some reason, when I saw that, I didn't want to read it. I did not want to read it. I did not, because I think it's all still like smoke and screens, bro.
Okay. As far as
what the Andy Dalton, I think, you know, like I told you last time, I thought that he came in, hey, you know, hey, you're gonna be the day one starter coming in. You're gonna be our guy. They probably sold him on that, and he probably still believes it, and which is I understand.
He is going to be the day one starter.
Yeah, for sure.
That hasn't changed. Yeah,
yeah. I think
barring injury or
exactly.
Yeah.
But my thing is, once training camp starts to get going, OTAs and stuff like that, and he has to look over at the competition and really be honest with who makes this team better. When that question has to get answered, I don't think it's gonna be Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
I don't think it's so. I'm really not paying attention to what he's saying. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, but for the sake of banter and
off-season
quotes, because it's a dry off-season.
Exactly. Go ahead. But we can lead it. You can go ahead. But I'm just telling you so because naturally I watch it
like whatever.
No, normally I read and dive into it, but that one in particular I let roll off because I feel like it's smoke and mirrors. It's not really gonna be as soon as he messes up, they're gonna be with Justin Fields, and it may not even be week 1. Don't let them have a hot preseason.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. The different outlets I've been paying attention to, they've spoken to the history that Nagy had when he was in KC. And when they drafted Mahomes, I'm not saying that Andy Dalton is Alex Smith. Potato. Alex Smith really didn't have that much more tremendous of a career than Andy Dalton, but he was a more consistent, more established starter. So when they drafted Mahomes, it was easy for them to sit him for a year and let Smith rock. Dalton is on a 1-year deal, it's just completely different than Smith, and he's coming off a shaky year with the Cowboys with arguably better talent in terms of his offensive weapons.
Yeah.
So to your point, I could see if they went ahead and sat him down. However, he still believes he's a starter. They still saying he's a starter. They're gonna give him the first shot, and let him mess it up before they just pull the rug out from underneath him.
But I'm with that though, and that's why I'm not saying much because I want him to believe that he is a starter because I want that type of confidence in my backup. For one, for two, you know what I mean? That just creates competitive competition. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that always gets the best out of, steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron. Yeah. So I feel like, hey, if you feel like he's a starter, he wants to compete, and he can play at a high level, go and beat Justin Fields. Prove it to me. Go fucking win out this job.
Well, I'm gonna say what Andy Dalton said. A pissed off Andy Dalton at his press conference last week or 2 weeks ago. He said,
he's pissed off.
My mindset didn't change just because they drafted Justin, referring to Justin Fields. So that was the quotes that really stood out from that press conference. He had a very frustrated look on his face. You could tell that he was like, yeah, y'all BS'd me getting me here. Y'all gave me all these false promises. And y'all known the whole time, my Chicago voice, whole time y'all gonna draft Justin Fields. So they really were frustrated. I mean, he really was frustrated about that, but
so he
knows it's part of the business. He has to know that that's how it goes, and he'll take it in stride. To your point, it's going to be an open competition. They didn't trade up to draft Fields for him to not compete for the job, but we're going to see what the learning curve is like.
Yeah.
I think that Fields still has a sizable learning curve because of some of those performances he had in college where you didn't see the fine-tuning of some of the quarterbacks that went ahead of him. Mm-hmm. So, at the very least, it's just going to be an experience advantage. We know the talent advantage and the potential advantage goes to Fields, but you want somebody, the team is already ready-made for another playoff run, if not further. Mm-hmm. Throw Dalton out there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not opposed to Andy Dalton as like a player. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, okay.
Are you putting Fields out there first off of potential, or are you putting him out there first because he's better at the moment you put him out there? Because I don't think he's better right now. I think that time will come. I just don't know if it's week one or first month or anything like that.
I think his potential is greater. Mm-hmm. So then you add the learning curve of that. Like say, okay, we are a playoff team without him. Mm. You know, and that's not saying that we played great last year. You know, I feel like they fought their way in, but they weren't great. You know, so you add, you know, someone of his caliber to that scenario, and now you're saying, in my opinion, I would take those odds plus his learning curve. Then, you know, Andy Dalton, even though he's familiar with Bill Lazor, this is a new offense he's learning too.
Yeah. Yep.
So, you know, it's not just it's because of his experience on why we brought him in, but if we're going off talent.
That's why I said the talent and potential advantage is unquestionably to Fields. Yeah. But if you're talking about a team that's already playoff ready and could go further as of right now,
if I'm the GM,
Dalton has the experience advantage, which is what you need for a team that's playoff. You don't put a rookie onto a playoff caliber team unless he's the number one overall pick.
He could have been. I mean, that's what
talent
going into the season,
and potential,
coming up into the draft.
Not polish. That's what I'm saying.
I understand that.
Would you agree with that? Because if he's number one polish, he's far and away better than Lawrence
that's the point
and Lance and all of them.
Going into the season, though, he was projected. It was 1A and 1B. Mm-hmm. So now we get,
and then they played the season.
No, I'm talking about even after the season. You know, up until a few months into after the draft.
Going into the draft.
Yeah, is when he started to fall, or you don't think so?
When I saw him play this past season at Ohio State, I said he's a first round talent, top 10 talent, but he's not better than Lawrence.
I'm not questioning it.
Not at that moment.
I'm
or
saying
the moment going into the draft.
I'm just saying that it was argued.
Fine, sure.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not. I'm.
Gotcha.
I get what.
Do you believe he is or was better up to this point than any of the other quarterbacks drafted
before him?
Other than Lance, I think he's better than Lance.
So is Justin Fields better than any quarterback drafted before him?
Lawrence or Wilson?
I think
I said before the draft he has the potential to be. Mm-hmm. He has the talent to be, but at the current moment he still has some polish that needs to be, you know, sand the edges down a little bit. He's still rough.
Got some refining to do. I understand that. Yeah. I'm not knocking that at all.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out in the months and years to come. I would say, I'm going to go on record now. Week 13. Week 12 or 13.
What?
That's when Field steps on
the
field.
You about crazy as hell.
Yeah. The Bears are going to go.
You think they didn't jump up?
The Bears are going to go like...
Week 13? What is our record?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. By week 12 or 13, y'all going to the playoffs. I said y'all was going to the playoffs last year. You laughed at me. You ain't trust your own team.
Listen.
Anyway,
you got to prove it to me.
Week 12.
This is Show Me Sports, sir.
Week 12.
This is Show Me Sports for a reason.
And they
you got to show me.
And
I'm not just going.
And they did. And you still pulled the playoff appearance.
Hey,
it wasn't impressive, but they made it. That was the whole point.
What's the
as
point?
A wild card?
Listen, you don't get no certificate for fucking making to the playoffs.
Listen,
you don't get no accolades for. Hey, I had 17 playoff appearsappearances.
Everyone can't win the Super Bowl every year, bro.
No, but I'm saying
y'all in the division with Aaron freaking Rodgers,
bro.
It just wasn't gonna happen for y'all like that.
I'm just saying.
So you take what you can get. The playoffs is a success with
playoffs?
that context.
Playoffs.
Jim Moore was happy to make the playoffs because he ain't win nothing.
I think that we underachieved. You know what I mean? How we played toward the end of the season is how I expected us to play during the beginning of the season. So forgive me for expecting our performance. And then when we got to the playoffs, they're dropping touchdown passes. We're blowing covers.
Y'all blamed it on Mitch. Y'all got Mitch up out of there.
Ain't blaming on Mitch.
No, y'all blamed it on Mitch.
Nah, we ain't just blaming on Mitch. Mitch had a part of it because he didn't properly develop either.
That's true.
You know, you got to be able to fucking get the ball downfield. Excuse my language. I'm cussing a lot more than usual. It's because
anytime
we talking about the Bears.
Anytime we talk about the Bears.
This just gets me frustrated.
But I was going to say, by the end of week 12, I think y'all will be...
Nah, it ain't going to take that
I think y'all will be 7-5. 7-5, 6 is like 1 or 2 games above 500, and y'all be just like y'all were last year, and y'all still gonna try to make the switch just because it ain't gonna be no legitimate reason. It's just gonna be like, let's just go ahead and put them out there. We need a boost. Quarterback play is down. We're winning games, but we just need a boost.
So you telling me we're gonna be headed to the playoffs with Andy Dalton, but then we're gonna switch to Justin Fields?
At that point in time, there are gonna be other teams that's probably better than y'all. That'd be like in those wild card spots, but y'all will still be above 500. So that's what's gonna get y'all to the playoffs.
So what's the point of waiting until then to switch him then?
Cause he's not ready. That's what I'm telling you, man.
So you rather him sit behind him and
give him more time to observe the game and learn the game at that speed, at that level. You don't throw him out there month 1, week 3, week 4. He's not ready, bro. I'm telling you, I don't believe he's ready.
Okay,
I don't.
You didn't even think he was gonna be on this team.
I didn't. No, neither one of us thought they was going to legitimately trade up and draft him. We didn't think that. Nobody thought that.
I'm playing, man. Yeah, but
so, you got something else?
No, I don't think it's going to take that long for him to get that starting spot. Week
5, first month.
For one, I'm gonna just say he ain't gonna make it to the bye week for sure. If we're not, I think the bye week is like week 9 or so.
Okay,
9 or 10. Okay. I don't think he's gonna make it that far.
Step out on faith. Week 5, week 3.
He's gonna be the starter by week 4.
Okay,
by week
first
4.
month.
Within exactly
September.
By the first 4 games.
What's that? Labor Day.
Yeah, we start in August.
Labor Day is the end of
September. Yep. So we'll know by October.
All right.
By October, we'll know who is the real starter.
I can't go no higher. Okay, we're gonna keep mind on that. So that's those are our takes to follow up with in the future. Keep that in mind. But we're gonna hop into what's really making waves, what's really trending, and the breaking news that's going on in sports world. Julio Jones.
I told you, bro.
It's also piggybacking on the hot and cold because that was definitely a hot take from Mariano that came to fruition. He did end up getting traded to the Atlanta Falcons for a 2002 second-round pick and a 2023 fourth-round pick. That both of those picks went to the Falcons. So the Falcons didn't get the compensation that they necessarily desired or what Julio's really worth, if we being honest.
Yep.
But with him coming off of a season of injuries and being nicked up in previous seasons, it allowed teams to be more leery about what they offered for Julio. But congratulations to you, sir, for your good detective work.
Yeah.
The rumors were percolating for the weeks prior to the trade, but I just wasn't completely sold on it because I wasn't considering a dynamic with Tannehill being the QB. But then looking at more of the analytics and how he's played since he got off of the Dolphins, even when he was with the Dolphins, despite his coaching staff.
Yeah.
What'd
you find
and I actually had him in fantasy 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And rolled him to the playoffs. So
Yeah, you was tripping.
I don't know.
You was tripping the other day. I'm like, if I'm Julio, hell yeah, I'm going. Like, why not?
He's got A.J. Brown on the other side, like
Yes.
you said. Got Derrick Henry in the backfield.
Oh, you got a defense.
I don't know who their tight end is, but it doesn't matter. Solid defense. They're replacing their whole secondary,
Yeah.
but they might not even need the secondary if their offense performs the way it's supposed to. Still going to be a ball control offense, but Tannehill has the ability to get the ball downfield on play action passes. Very good play action passer.
Man.
So what did you think about the trade?
If from who? If I'm
Both sides.
Julio, if I'm the
Any
Titans,
elements that stood out?
if I'm Julio, I'm excited, man. You partner up with another young receiver that's on the rise. You're in you're on grass. You're off that turf in Atlanta. Well, they have like a
Grassy turf.
yeah. I've actually been there before on their field.
The stadium is beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice field, but you're in Tennessee, still going to be in some decent weather. You got a Pro Bowl level quarterback, who's competent, who's tough, smart, knows the offense, and they're gonna get you the ball. You know what I mean? So why not? You're gonna be in the AFC, so you're in a different conference. Man. If I was him, man, I would have been ecstatic, bro.
Yeah. The odds makers got they now have Tannehill in the running for MVP after this trade.
Yeah, he was in the MVP race a couple years ago.
He actually was in the conversation 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
When they made that
I
run?
didn't think he was going to win it, but it was he was justifiably in it. Now it's more so it's to me the takeaway was more so the landscape of the AFC now. Mm-hmm. I can't see the NFC.
You can't look past Tennessee right now.
I don't think that the Bucs would have won if the Chiefs were at full strength, full health in the Super Bowl.
With the tackles being hurt?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs would have at least given them a run for their money, if not winning the Super Bowl. Because they had only lost like one other game in the past 2 years or two games in the past two seasons or something like that. So now it doesn't matter who's coming out the AFC. All of those teams are loaded. Like Cleveland is loaded. Tennessee is loaded.
Baltimore.
Kansas City is loaded. Baltimore is loaded. Like the NFC
Buffalo.
They just basically gave to me the AFC another Super Bowl. So it's going to come out of the AFC. It's just a matter of which team it's going to be. They're going to all beat up on each other.
Yeah, because there's no definitive, contenders coming out of the NFC.
No. I mean, the Packers are still question mark because we don't know what's going to happen with A-Rod. I think the Buccaneers benefited from a hot defense in the playoffs, but they didn't play like that all season. So we don't know what kind of defense they're going to have this year.
Yeah. New Orleans is not having Breeze coming back.
Breeze is gone. We don't know what the 49ers are going to be. We don't know what the Cardinals are going to be. We don't know what the Rams are going to be.
Man.
I shouldn't have said that. Sorry, forgive me. I'm not a fan of that horrid franchise. But yeah, I think that was my biggest takeaway was like the AFC is now
loaded.
Is now going to win the Super Bowl, whichever team comes out of the AFC.
I think the Titans, depending on how their defense plays, is now like top 2 or 3 teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
You got 2,000-yard receivers easily, bro,
and a 2,000-yard rusher. That's gonna be crazy.
You literally are not going to be able to double. Or if you do, you're going to have a long night. And then once you start to double him, you got Derrick Henry coming out the backfield for the party.
Yeah.
It's stiff-arming people into the damn stands.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to this. I'm ready for the season, man.
I am. Listen to
always
this.
around May, I get ready to. I just start getting that feeling.
Up.
Yeah.
Listen to this, bro. Julio's career averages out of 10 years. 10-year average. 85 catches, 1,300 yards, and 8 touchdowns is an average season for him.
85 for 1,300.
And 8 touchdowns. That's an average year for him.
How many yards per catch is that? That's like
14.8.
Yeah, like I was gonna say 15 yards a catch. Yeah,
that's Hall of Famer, dog.
It's an instant. I've heard people say he's first ballot. What do you think?
It's no question.
I think it's kind of early.
It's no question. When you look at
first ballot,
10 years in the game, bro. I don't think
So we're
it's
talking
been
about like Randy Moss,
Julio's been dominant.
Jerry Rice.
Julio's of that ilk. And it's time that we,
Whew.
I think it went Randy Moss, T.O., that
I think
generation.
Steve Largent went first ballot too, but that was another era.
Calvin Johnson-esque, bro. I think he's of that ilk, man.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I forgot about CJ, yeah.
Where if you look at his first 10 years in the game, like I said, he averaged, like, minimum, you could just book this motherfucker for 85 catches, 1,300 yards, and 8 TDs.
Madness. And now he's got a clone on the other side.
A mini clone. He has a mini clone. And I did his averages, too, for his first 2 years. 61 catches, 9.5 touchdowns already, and averaging a little over 1,000 yards a season. So almost 1,100 yards.
So he's
10
like
touchdowns.
what, 18 to catch?
I didn't pull up his per yard cap, but I know last year was like 14 as well.
That's crazy. 65 catches, you said?
61 catches.
61 a season.
Average.
That's nuts.
So imagine you got
and almost all of that was on play action because it wasn't like they were just throwing bombs away.
Yeah, and
they were like first, second, third down. Derrick Henry. Then the next set of after they moved the sticks, then play action, deep ball. Because he's only getting 60 catches a season.
Mm-hmm. But you see what he's doing.
That's like a number 2 receiver numbers, a number 3.
It really
but
is.
But still getting 1,000 yards.
One because you got to put your number 1 corner on him.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying for him to get that production out of that little catches, that's ridiculous. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna shift to the Aaron Rodgers saga. If you're a fan of soap operas, this is for you. There's no real news on the front other than the CEO, Mark Murphy, coming out and responding to an email that he got. I guess he does like the mailbag kind of deal where he talks about nothing to keep the news cycle going. And he decided to invoke the name of the great Aaron Rodgers without prompt. Somebody asked him about just the Washington football team name and some other question. Didn't make any mention of Aaron Rodgers, any mention of anything. Mm-hmm. And Mark Murphy just like, well, Aaron Rodgers has divided the fan base. And
what? That's how it came out? I saw that. I saw that this morning.
Bro, where did that come from? We wasn't even on that.
No,
our mind was somewhere else. Is that what your mind is on? So
when somebody just wake up and they just bullshit.
Man, he had to be feeling salty.
You ever had that happen, bro? Somebody wake up, they bullshit with you, just like
choosing violence out the bed.
Like, come on now, you just started some shit for no reason. Come on,
pretty much. So I heard that was kind of like a middle finger to Aaron Rodgers for him being in Hawaii during OTAs and basically just giving them the middle finger initially for how they've been treating him the past couple of seasons. But it's like, how you gonna be mad at him after how y'all treated him? It's like an abusive relationship. Like you go.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the analogy.
I do have to be mindful of that. Shout out to everybody that's going through that. That's not no joke. But I'm saying, like, when you blame the person you're abusing, like, that's foul. Like, especially when no one even gave you that prompt. Like, there needs to be some accountability there. And that didn't help I'm sure that didn't help the situation at all. Because he knew that was going to make headlines, even though it was probably just some obscure website, Packers fan site or whatever. Like, he knew that was going to get out to the national media. And he still chose to do it. He wrote this out. It wasn't like he was speaking live and was like, oh, it slipped out. Like, no, you had time to type, edit, scan, proofread, send to somebody else. Like, bro, you made sure that was in there. So it was just weird to me. And now we're going to see how that plays out. Like I said earlier, we don't know what's going to happen with that situation. Some people saying he's coming back. Some people saying they're going to wait to trade him. Some people say he's going to sit out the whole season.
I see that
Jeopardy host, like...
I see that as being what the option is, bro. To be honest, I don't.
Which one?
Trading him.
Yeah,
I said that already, but I don't see how he comes back. You know what I mean? I don't see how he comes back. They brought in a brand new coach. Yeah, look, you brought in a brand new coach.
Yeah,
y'all just got rid of the GM and stuff like 2 years prior.
Talking about OC? LaFleur been there for 2 years.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the change has been new, but we know the problem isn't just showed up in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you got new general management, you got a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the staff has changed, defense coordinators, offense whatever has made changes. So when you look at it, it's like you would have to get rid of everybody else.
Yeah.
So he
really just wants Gutekunst gone, the GM. He wants Brian Gutekunst out of there because that's who got Jordan Love, and that's who's not been helping him through the draft the seasons that he's been there, the latter seasons.
Yeah.
He ain't got no issue with LaFleur.
I don't think
he ain't got no issue with anybody else, but like he specifically went in on Gutekunst, like, nah, I need that dude out of here.
And I feel that, but I think that when you look at the age, you look at the contract, you look at what else is going on, as far as like just the landscape of the NFL, man. It's not that many quarterbacks that's going to be winning championships into their 40s. Which is not. You got one guy who's been doing it for over 20 years now. You know what I mean?
That team, though, the team is right there. The team is literally, like, put it like this, and I know it didn't happen, it's not going to happen, but if Julio had gotten to the Packers, that's a Super Bowl team. Would you agree?
But we can say if Julio went to other teams.
I'm just talking about, for why Aaron Rodgers leaving is still kind of teetering in the balance because the team is that close.
But my thing is, I think it's still a gap though too, because their defense isn't all of that.
That defense got them to the NFC Championship game 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah, you got Jair Alexander on one side. You know what I mean? You got you got Darnell Savage. Mm-hmm. You got
front seven is no joke.
You got Adrian Amos. You know what I mean? But the other corner, Kevin King had a terrible last year. You know what I mean? So you don't have a corner
cheeks
over there. You didn't upgrade over there, I don't believe. You brought some people in, but it wasn't even the best draft. As far as getting upgrading. You know what I mean? I don't feel like they've got the best corner they could have if you were going to go corner. You see what I'm saying? I just feel like
you think that will prevent them from being a Super Bowl team
with Aaron Rodgers or without?
Let's look at the NFC Championship game. Take out Devontae. What's the man's last name? Adams. Mm-hmm. Take out Tay Adams. Who else was doing anything for Aaron in that game?
I don't know about in the championship.
In that game, because even with them doing nothing, it was still a tight game to the last drive. That wasn't all the offense. The defense was playing too. Stopping the running game and break. Because Brady didn't really carry them to the Super Bowl. It was the run game. So the Packers were stopping the run game as well. It was just they weren't getting the points on the board. It was backwards. Packers ain't played like that since before Brett Favre. It's always been offensive led. So for their defense to play how they did, it was glaring that they needed another guy like Julio, somebody that could do what he's going to do for Tennessee, take pressure off of the number one, pull away double teams, so he can open the field up and Aaron Rodgers can be Aaron Rodgers. They didn't have that.
I see what you're saying.
If they get that one guy, that's a Super Bowl team. I think they would have blew the Buccaneers out. If they had another guy.
I understand that.
So that's why I say it's just I can't definitively say he's gone. Unless he just wants to be gone. I don't see it happening. If he just wants to be gone, then yeah.
For one,
he hasn't said that. He said he wants to come back. He wants to be there.
Of course, he wants it under his conditions, though, underneath his term. But what I'm saying is, I don't see it that it is not driven by what the athletes want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we can't even consider it. Theoretically, you know what I mean? We only go off of what
I think in this situation.
History tells us.
I think in this situation, he gonna dictate a lot more than most athletes, most NFL athletes.
And that's saying what though? Because he's still gonna be gone. He may have a preference of where he's going, but he's gonna be gone, bro. I'm telling you, by 2021, Aaron Rodgers will not play for the Green Bay Packers. You can book it.
In that same interview, Mark Murphy said that he wants Aaron Rodgers back. Aaron Rodgers says he wants to be back. Mm-hmm. For there to be any kind of departing from Aaron Rodgers this season would be shocking. Because in Atlanta, there was one side saying that they wanted the other part back, but the other part didn't say that. They was quiet. Julio didn't say nothing because he wanted to be gone. Generally, one side is like, we're going to keep our comments to ourselves because we really don't want you to be here, or we don't want to be here. You get what I'm saying? But both sides are saying we want this marriage to work. That's why I'm like, I can't just. It's hard for me to just leap off that cliff right now.
I think what's clouding your judgment on this is the fact that not only how long he's been there, but the window that they were in.
No, I'm talking about what statements they made.
I know, but this is still a business.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I can tell you this on this, in front of these cameras, it's the press conference because this is what's good for business to the eye of the public.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to as far as what's really going to win championships, because that's really what the business is.
If they get rid of Aaron Rodgers, they not winning no championship.
But the thing of it is
anytime soon. Who they gonna bring in?
But think about it like this though, Keys. Think about it like this. We can tell, hey, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, we want you back. But you gotta understand the price that is on his head as to what they can get back for him as a general manager. Mm-hmm. So they control the cards.
But they've also shown as general managers that they can't do well in drafts and free agency.
But at this point, something has to be made, though.
I don't think so.
I think that's
why do you think something has to be made? Why do you think that?
Because you're going to be paying him so much money if he does decide to stay. You know what I'm saying? Or if you decide to keep him. But I think that the relationship is a lot more damaged than what is perceived. You see what I'm saying? This ain't, and this is the thing. We're talking about this now, but this ain't even the first time it's been came up.
No, this was like
this has been
last season.
You know what I'm saying? This has been going on. Mm-hmm. This ain't just nothing. It's definitely something. It's more something than it is nothing.
I agree.
And I think that Aaron Rodgers right now is kind of dictating where he wants to go. Probably negotiating or thinking or seeing what teams put what in place.
His teams have been laid out.
Exactly. And I don't.
His destinations, and they've drafted quarterbacks since he's laid out the list.
But if you're Aaron Rodgers, that doesn't mean it. That's just the young pup that's going to be behind you like Jordan Love. You know what I mean?
Nah, I disagree with that, bro. The 49ers mortgaged their whole future on Trey Lance.
I ain't saying going. I'm not saying he's going. I never thought he was going to go to San Francisco.
So the only spot that is left is the Broncos. And I'm not disagreeing with that possibility. I'm just saying I wouldn't say that's a probability, considering both sides publicly say, like, it just, if you look at the history of the tactics and negotiation, you don't see that happen. Mm-hmm. You see one side say something, the other side either doesn't say anything or they say the opposite.
Yeah.
Even with the Deshaun Watson situation, if you take away all the allegations with the sexual assaults and all that stuff, he was not like, oh, I'm going to be back next season. I'm ready to rock as a Texan. I'm committed. He was quiet because he knew he wanted to be out of there. Same thing with Julio. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. You kind of put your boy on blast. You should have let him know, like, you're on live television before you start talking to him, not afterward. Mm-hmm. But he said, I'm out of there. He was ready to go. The Falcons hadn't said they were shopping him yet. Then they had to come out. So like, yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
We're gonna go ahead and.
But look, that's what I was telling you though before the draft though, Keys. They knew they weren't keeping Julio before they drafted whatchamacallit.
I think that's speculation.
No,
I think it is.
I don't. Come on, bro. That don't even make sense. Like I said, they're paying Matt Ryan $40 million in the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. You're paying Julio this. Your cap space is already with that much. Is limited, bro. It's super limited, and I like I was telling you, I don't think that it was when you got somebody else on the rise, and then like you were saying, you got somebody like Kyle Pitts, this freak of nature, and the possibility of upgrading or not upgrading, but like, hey, we ain't gonna go that long without having a superstar wide receiver or another big time playmaker on the outside. Let's go ahead and make the change. You know what I'm saying? That's what I saw. And right now,
and that's kind of what the Packers did with trading up to get Jordan Love, but they didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to go 48-4.
And then somebody
and win MVP.
I saw something yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, and it was somebody else is coming like a reporter for the Packers came out and said that Bush guy wouldn't be back. We can get into that a little bit later. It was a reporter.
No, who wouldn't be back?
Rodgers.
Oh, Rodgers. Okay.
There's and this reporter was talking to some, spilling this news out somewhere in Chicago. Is what was told on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Like, whoever this inside reporter was someone, in Chicago talking to, other insiders, and it got leaked out. But a lot more people than just me, myself, believe that he's gone, bro. Mm-hmm. And it's just because it's very toxic right now. You know what I mean? The relationship is very toxic.
Oh, my favorite word, toxic.
Yeah.
We're going to go on to another toxic topic. Spring football. We have had several leagues pop up in the past couple of seasons. I was on the XFL bandwagon, as I was an XFL fan as a kid in the original iteration. So when they came back, we actually were trying to orient our podcast and our content around the XFL last season before they ran into the undefeated almighty COVID-19. So since they're on hiatus, coronavirus. Since they are on hiatus, and they will probably be back in 2023. It's supposed to be 2022, but the Rock playing games. We have the Spring League, which is kind of, I don't know if you've watched any of the games. It's middling football, not overly exciting. There are teams that have all defense and no offense, which doesn't make for exciting sports in general. Mm-hmm. And then you had the AAF, which only performed for one season, their inaugural year, and then they disappeared and went defunct. Now we have the return of the USFL. They participated in professional football shenanigans in 1985, I think, about 30 years ago almost. Okay. Over 30 years ago. Our former president was actually an owner of one of the teams. Shout out to 44. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to dignify him with that honor. But he owned, I think, the New York Generals, New Jersey, something. I wasn't born yet, so I don't know the teams. I just know Herschel Walker was in the league. At one point, Reggie White was in the league, Steve Young. There was a couple of NFL Hall of Fame guys that made the jump to the USFL in the original iteration and got their feet wet because the NFL didn't want to pay their money, or they got drafted to a team they didn't want to play for.
What?
Yeah, so another spring football league popping up in 2022. The news just dropped last week. Fox Sports is actually going to be a minority stakeholder, and they're going to be the primary broadcast partner of the USFL. It's going to be interesting to see. They must have already had it in the works, because next season, a year is not really that much time to do full-scale operations, getting teams in different markets and ownership groups and branding and all that stuff. So they must have done a really good job of keeping it on the radar, and we're going to start to see that ramp up, I guess, towards the end of the NFL season. That's another opportunity for guys that didn't make it to an NFL roster to still play professional football, get some film, and try to transition to the NFL. And they've made it clear they're not trying to compete with the NFL. A lot of these leagues have learned their lesson from the original XFL. We're not going heads up with.
Nah, that would be a bad move, bad decision.
Yeah. So,
but hey, that's huge though. We know me and you covered the XFL like we was talking about, but a lot of those players was in the season, ended up making on a lot of NFL teams right before the season started up. Especially, it was crazy because, COVID kind of hurt, but it kind of helped some people too, because it's like, oh, hey, I need a quarterback, or I need a backup tight end, and now you've done all of this work in this other league, and you got film to put out, and get a job, or at least an audition. So, there's a bunch of people that it worked out for. So
shout out to PJ Walker. He was the MVP candidate for the XFL before the season got cut short. He ended up playing for the Panthers a couple of games when Bridgewater went down with injury. So we'll see what happens with that. Keep an eye out on it. There's no real news other than what I shared. They're going to go with original names and logos and stuff, or try to reformat them, modernize them. But it's going to be 8 franchises, and they're going to try to recreate that old feel for a new generation and a new audience. So that's the USFL news. We're going to talk about our boy Cam.
Oh man,
We spoke about injuries earlier. We spoke about age and attrition, how that impacts athletes as they get into their mid and late 30s. Cam is starting to creep up there. He already has a very physical play style, even at his age. He's never been the most accurate thrower of the football unless you have the system around him, kind of like what they've done for Lamar in Baltimore. They previously did for Cam in Carolina when he won MVP in 2015. He gets hurt. And I don't know how. Some people just have a magnet where the injuries are drawn to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Some people just are cursed with the injury bug. But my man was throwing a regular pass in regular practice this spring, in OTAs last week, and he threw his hand into somebody's helmet and bruised the bone in his hand. So they pulled him off of the field. Put Golden Child,
Mac Jones,
007 Mac Jones. They threw him into the mix, and I heard reports that he was not very impressive in his initial showing with like first team reps and first team defense. Which I mean, that's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. The people that go out there and thrive are usually in another upper echelon, but it just showed that the competition is going to be a little bit more close than what some may have thought when they drafted him. They didn't trade up to draft him when they drafted him in the first round.
Yeah.
You think that's still going to be a competition, or? Because Cam he might miss mini camp in the next couple weeks, but he should be ready for training camp. They're not trying to.
I think Cam's going to play. And this scenario is a little bit different like the Bears.
I was going to ask you about that.
I think that Cam, for one, you have a former MVP of the league, so it's just a different caliber player that you would be relying on than somebody like Andy Dalton. But I feel like...
The Red Rifle.
You know what I mean? I think, this is second year in for Cam in this offense. He knows it. You brought in a couple more pieces to put around him. So not only is he more confident going in, but you can feel more confident. Like, hey, he ain't gonna miss, even though he's gonna miss a little bit of time. We know what he is at this point, or what he can bring to the table. So I don't think it'll be much of a competition as long as Cam doesn't have a major injury where he misses,
or COVID.
Weeks at a time or something like that. But I don't think Mac Jones gets on the field this season unless that happens. That's just my take on that.
I gotta ask the question.
Yeah. Just
because I'm stirring the pot, but I am genuinely interested.
Who starts first?
No, Cam's gonna start. But is Mac Jones in situation or potential that much different than Justin Fields?
You said is his situation different? So
I recognize that the Bears traded up for Fields.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that Fields is better potential in terms of his ceiling, of where he can go. However, I also look at college production and polish.
Yeah.
And I look at system.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mac Jones is more ready right now to step into a starting role in his system with how he plays than Justin Fields is for his style of play and his polish. That doesn't mean I think Mac Jones is going to start earlier because, like you said, he's behind a former MVP.
Mm-hmm. I think it's different for two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One, the players are different, but then two, the people around the players are different.
Right.
But if you want to go a step further, then three, you got totally different coaches. But just as you got two different play styles and you got different players around them. So Justin Fields has Montgomery in the backfield with him. He has Tariq Cohen in the backfield with him. He even got Damian Williams they picked up. He got Allen Robinson on the outside. They went and got him some tackle help. He has Cole Kmet. He has Jimmy Graham as of right now. He has some security blankets. You feel me? Mac Jones, if I ask you right now, who's the Patriots starting running back?
I thought it was Sonny Michel. No, what's his name?
That's
Damian Harris.
That's
not no slouch.
No, I'm not saying it's slouch. Okay. But the fact that it's unsure.
It's not
it's uncertain.
I got you.
And you don't know. Okay, maybe this part, and that's how the Patriot system is. You don't know who can be the future back of this week. Whatever.
True.
But then, who's their number one receiver?
Dang. Don't know. Between Kendrick Bourne or Aguilar.
Who's their tight end?
Hunter Henry. Jonnu Smith.
There we go. It's Jonnu Smith. But
Jonnu above Hunter?
No, but I'm just saying. I think Hunter's a little bit more injury prone.
True.
And that's what was the uncertainty on that one is what I was getting at.
Fair.
You know what I mean? So he has a little bit better of a situation he's going to. But I think that Mac Jones
there's still some uncertain pieces. And
exactly. And
sure.
but I think his system, and that's why I say with his talent around these guys, I'd rather take him, Fields with that core people and let him learn. Because those guys are solidified. We know what they're going to do.
They're not question marks.
Exactly. With the people around him. That's why I'm confident in Justin Fields.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, if I go over to Mac Jones, it's like, okay, because of the system.
Absolutely. And the coaching.
Fair.
You think he could be Tom Brady 2.0?
I don't know. No, I don't think we ever going to see another Tom Brady, bro. And that's just
a lot of these guys we're not going to see again.
Yeah.
That we've been watching for 15, 20 years.
You know, Drew Brees, somebody that wins 1 or 2 rings, but dominates, puts up big numbers. Could be.
Yeah. We got a good crop of young quarterbacks, but it'll take time to see what they pan out to be. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about moving on from making waves. Just going to touch and go with some of these topics. My boy Yano mentioned that there are pitchers in Major League Baseball that are still cheating. Why y'all cheating, bro?
Don't cheat the game.
Why y'all cheating the game?
You can't cheat the game, dog.
Now I mentioned to you like there's competitive advantages that are pursued in every sport by every team and every coach and every player. Mm-hmm. Competitive advantages in quotations, but particularly in the MLB, they've had a problem with pitchers utilizing foreign substances to doctor their pitches and to add spin and velocity to their pitches to strike out batters and make batters look stupid at the plate. And they sent out a memo like right before opening day. It's like 10 days before opening day saying like, stop. Mm-hmm. Don't do this no more. Mm-hmm. The timing was really weird. I don't know if y'all watch baseball. I haven't really kept up. I try to keep up with my Cardinals. That's about it. Mm-hmm. If they not in the playoff hunt, I ain't really messing with it. Mm-hmm. But it's still a valid story because it begs the question, like, is this not as big of a topic because of the lack of interest in the sport, or is it because it's a different audience or a different group of players predominantly on the rosters? If you catch my drift.
Yeah. I definitely think that
there's not as many guys that look like you or I.
Yeah, so it doesn't bring as much attention. And right. I brought that to your attention when I brought up the conversation to you last night, man. It's just that it's unfortunate because you're cheating the game. You know what I mean? And I told you the difference between a competitive edge and cheating. You know what I mean? Competitive edge is like, hey, I'm going to wear lighter shoes if it makes me feel faster on my feet. Mm. You know what I mean? If we're on the field or we're playing basketball, you feel me? That's a competitive advantage. Oh, you know what I mean? It's the small little things like that that is a call or considered that. But when you're putting extra moisture on the ball. Moisture. Substance. And we're not even talking about, the people that's probably still doing some of these PEDs or PhDs. PhDs. They got PhDs in this PEDs because at this point, they're not being.
But the thing about it is, cheating has happened throughout the history of sport, particularly baseball. At every level, with every team, forever. So it's the one thing that was brought to light is that the guy, what's his name, pitcher, he's like turncoat, Benedict Arnold, Trevor Bauer. He came out. He's a pitcher for the LA Dodgers. I think he won the Cy Young Award for like best pitcher in the NL in last year or 2 years ago. But he came out and spoke about how bad of an issue this is. Mm-hmm. And then, like, the season after he spoke out about it, he won the Cy Young Award, and like they analyzed his metrics and his pitches and stuff, and all his numbers were starting to creep up as though he was doctoring. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's the hardest thing to track. I ain't gonna say the hardest, but the good cheaters find a way to cheat without getting caught, just like relationships. Find a way to get you put them in your phone as pizza guy, or you come up with a brand new hobby at 11 o'clock on Tuesday, and you're always there every Tuesday. I'm just going to yoga class. Like the good cheaters find a way to mask their cheating, and they do it on a regular basis. So I think the reason I was going to say the Patriots, and I was also going to bring up when I make the point of like why it's gotten less attention from my worldview, my perspective, is because it's not someone like a Barry Bonds threatening a hollowed record, or a Sammy Sosa or somebody like that. Exactly. Now it's like bells and whistles and alarms. But before that, it's like, oh, well, we know that everyone's taking steroids, but we're just going to keep this between us. News media people, let's not put that out there. Like, just bury that lead. Just like celebrate the home runs. Yeah, good job. There we go. Yeah, it's just home runs. More home runs.
Yeah.
But
people want to see, the fans want to see home runs.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And that's what puts the fans in the seat. That's what gets
the fans want to see exciting competition, regardless of whatever's going to make the sport more competitive and more exciting. Until it starts to threaten the bottom line, or mess with somebody's invested interest.
Yeah,
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, because somebody I'm not going to pay millions and billions of dollars, and we out here losing.
Right.
And my guys aren't doing what it takes to win. You know what I mean? Or not. Creating those advantages, you know what I mean, or looking for those advantages.
Right.
So I get it, but playing sports my whole life growing up, bro, you don't cheat the game. You don't cheat the game. Too many people work hard, put hours, literally blood, sweat, and tears.
Sound like a man of integrity.
I'm just saying, man. I don't believe in that, man.
Look at it like this. In football, we talked about the Patriots, Deflategate, right? Brady deflated the football. It's a travesty. Matt Leinart came out and said every quarterback deflates the footballs. Phil Simms came out and said every quarterback deflates the footballs. Like, multiple quarterbacks throughout the history of football have said every quarterback deflates the footballs. Tom Brady got caught. So it happens. It's not like it's. Well, that's why I say competitive advantage.
What about when they was filming people's plays?
Every team does it. Every team does it.
What about when they was filming other people's plays?
The Falcons have also been accused of doing the same thing.
But what I'm asking you,
it just wasn't before the Super Bowl.
Is that cheating?
It's cheating. But that's why I said if everyone does it, it's kind of just more like a competitive advantage. Who's cheating better than the other?
Man.
You would be surprised, bro.
Who's coming up with the rules? How about that? Let's start there.
Goodell and the owners.
Because, you already have film study. Why are you watching my plays?
My guy, Al Davis, said if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah. My coach in football used to tell us that.
And that's why y'all was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. We going to touch on the U.S. men's national team in soccer. Neither one of us really watch soccer. I try to keep up with the MLS, especially now that St. Louis is getting a franchise. But outside of that, I'm not like on every stat or every game, every match. But I do know that the U.S. men's national team has struggled in recent years. They won the CONCACAF Nations League final. It's the first ever competition of that style that we've had. I think it's somewhat similar to what they have in Europe, the UEFA League. And we came out on top, which is encouraging because there are some other nations that we competed against that are really good. We ended up beating Mexico.
I was about to say, I saw that. We beat Mexico. Was it 2-0 yesterday?
Encouraging win. Shout out to y'all. Something to be proud of in recent years because it hasn't been much else that y'all have done worth celebrating. Speaking of something not worth celebrating, Serena went out in the fourth round. I'm a tennis fan. I'm trying to get Yano into it, maybe get Jada into it at some point if she wants to get out on the court.
Yeah.
But not if she's watching people like Serena because she ain't playing like herself. She's kind of in the LeBron space where
we're in that
she's
era,
been great for so long and
this is the point.
Might be coming towards that point in time, even though she's still way better than most. not better than the up and coming, talents.
And that's
in the
what
game.
that's what it is, man. And it's just a changing of the guards. That's just exactly where you're visually you're seeing it happen, and sometimes it takes us a minute of that disbelief because years and years we've seen people at excellence, a level of excellence that they've set as a standard.
Yep.
And they're not meeting it. It's like, yo, what's going on? You know what I mean? It's like seeing Superman get punched in the face, and then he actually like
that ain't supposed to happen to you, Superman.
Look, like he spits the blood out. You're like, damn, Superman bleeding. Yeah, like, oh shit, Superman bleeding.
He been off Krypton too long.
Yeah, that's what happens. You be like, oh shit, hold on, what are we supposed to do now? Like, it takes that moment, but we got to realize that they're not, superhuman. Right. Even though they do these.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I suspend belief when I still watch some of these people play. Like when Brady plays, I'm like, nah, Brady gonna pull that out. I just seen it so many times before. LeBron, he's gonna flip that switch. I've seen it so many times before. Serena's gonna flip that switch. And then when, like you said, when they don't, it's like, oh yeah, I should have known better. I allow myself to get lost in the story. In the old days, you start having the flashbacks wash over you. It's like, no, they're not there right now. So you gotta think, we've been watching these people perform at a high level since the early 2000s.
Yes, bro. Yes.
Like, what's crazy? 20 years.
Real quick, just going
20 years ago, how old was you?
20 years ago, 12.
Okay, I was 10. Like, I don't even remember what I was doing at 10, but I still remember these people playing sport. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, what you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I was looking at the old draft. They were saying like redoing that Chris Paul draft or whatever, then redoing that class, and it's crazy that I was looking at some of them players that was in that class with Chris Paul that aren't even in the league no more.
Bro. Been gone.
You know who went after him at 4? For one, Deron Williams went before Chris Paul at 3.
Wow.
So when I
didn't realize it was that long ago.
Deron Williams, Chris Paul went 4. Raymond Felton went 5.
Wow.
And they been gone out there.
Been gone. Deron Williams actually lasted longer than...
but Deron Williams...
Because I didn't know he was that... It came in that early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they been gone.
You know what I'm saying? They had players like Francisco Garcia and all of these other players. It's like, bro, I ain't seen this name in so long.
Just starts bringing you back.
And it's just like, give credit to like Chris Paul, like, going back to like, in the playoffs, him and Devin Booker, he's on the tail end of his career, but now he has that, that young pup that's a superstar underneath him that now it's like, okay, he's passing along, that information, that wisdom, that knowledge to the next generation. And, Book is a huge Kobe fan. He was a real big Kobe fan. So I think it's like the changing of the guard. That last that last generation is gonna be able to say, okay, I played with some of them greats from that era. You know what I mean? So
it would be nice if there could be some kind of similar changing of the guard in a teammate sense in an individual sport. Because like when you get to like tennis or golf, it's like, once it's done, it's done. Mm-hmm. You can't lean on nobody. You can't ask nobody for help. Like when you out there in the competitive arena, it's just you. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe like some older players could be like some of them have become coaches, but like I said, Federer pulled out. Once he's done, he's done. Once Serena's done, she's done. It's just a whole nother group. But that did take me to what I wanted to talk about with this new segment we talked about called Show Me Something. Mm-hmm. It's where we just highlight a player or a highlight or a performance that was really significant in the previous week or month that was something that we was like, okay.
You gotta give your props.
I gotta give you a props for that. We ain't see that coming. That was dope. You showed us something. Mm-hmm. So in terms of changing of the guard, staying in the tennis arena, I got to give a shout out to Coco Gauff.
Shout you out, girl.
She won.
Shout out, girl.
She won her fourth round match yesterday, 6-3, 6-1 against Ons Jabeur. I forget where she's from. I think it's Tunisia or Algeria, something like that, somewhere in Africa. Mm-hmm. My apologies. But that made Coco the youngest quarterfinal appearance for an American in a major tournament since Venus Williams. That's going back to 1997. If I'm not mistaken, Coco is 17 years old, and she's playing like she's 27. She's out there dominating. She's not just winning, scrapping, clawing like she was when she was 14 or 14, 15, 2 years ago. She's playing like a straight grown woman.
And out here handling business.
So she really showed me something of how dominant she's been performing as of late, especially playing at a tournament that's historically not very friendly to Americans because she's playing on a clay surface. Generally, we grow up playing on hard courts in the United States, sometimes grass courts, but clay is a whole nother animal. So to do it at the French Open, she gets a lot of kudos for me. A lot of kudos for me.
You on that stage.
Who showed you something this week?
Man, I'm going to take it back. I kind of was just segueing into it, talking about my boy Devin Booker, man. Like I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I've been on his bandwagon since he really came into the league. But you know, a lot of people didn't hear me when I'm saying like, oh man, he tough, he's nice, because of the team he was on. You know what I mean? You can look at a player and tell when you not only watch the game or study the game, but also you played it. You know you can recognize greatness. You can understand somebody's getting better, or you understand it when somebody's putting work in on their game, man. And Book definitely has been doing that, bro. You know, he smashed the Lakers this season. I mean, this series. He went off for 47 and 11. In the final, game 6 in LA. Yeah. You know, in a closeout game. You know, I think in the first quarter he had like 22 points, 7 for 7 in the first half on threes, ended for like 8 for 10. Yeah. But a lot of them points in the end of the game were like putting his foot
just insurance
on their throat type of, like, you know what I mean? If it was a fight, like he was throwing haymaker, like he wasn't out here jabbing, playing around. He was literally trying to take out their jugular. Right. In all sense purposes. Like, he was not in there messing around at all. And it really showed me a different part of him, and his game has elevated. You know, last year in the bubble, they went 8-0. You know what I mean? It kind of prepped them for the season. And, man, next round, who they playing the next round? The Suns
got the Nuggets, I believe.
The Nuggets in the next round. That series, bro, while I got it on this topic, man, it's going to be a good one. But as I look at the Nuggets, man, I got to tell you this. As I watch them a little bit more and more in this playoffs, they remind me of the old Spurs.
Yeah.
Because they say they play so fundamental, they pass the ball.
Vegetables. They vegetables. They boring, but they good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I hated the Spurs. I'm like, man, y'all color. I like black and silver, but man, y'all make that dull and boring.
Man, but just watching Book cook was something, man. He showed me a lot, bro. Shooting 48% from the field, 40% from three. Making his teammates better, you know, still contributing and not forcing it. And that's huge, bro. It's huge. They got the Nuggets in the next round. That's gonna be a big test. Got Big Joker, out there in Denver, MVP candidate. Man, yeah, it's gonna be.
I think these semifinal series are gonna be very interesting across the board. Mm-hmm. The Sixers and the who do they play?
Hawks.
The Hawks, and then the Nets and the Bucks. Mm-hmm. They've already played a game each.
Yeah,
the Hawks got the upset win in game
one. Yeah, Joel Embiid was going off. Joel Embiid had a pretty good game. He had 39 points, 9 rebounds. Yeah. You know, Ice Trader Gang had 35. Ice Trader Gang had 35 and 10. Man.
And then the Bucks gave the Nets a run in the first half before the Nets decided to play like the Nets.
Before KD decided to play like KD.
Even though Harden went out, they still, got what they needed to get their win. So all of the series are going to be interesting in that semifinal round. I didn't have anything else though, bro. Did you want to tap on anything else?
While we're talking, you brought up that Bucks Nets series. They play again tonight. I believe they are back in Brooklyn. No James Harden tonight. But I'm expecting another victory from the Nets. I don't think they have an option. I don't think they have anybody that can stop Kevin Durant. And I think as long as they let Giannis do what Giannis is going to do and let the others be the others, according, as Shaq calls it, then you good. You know what I mean? Just let the other guys do what they're going to do, be what they're going to be, and don't let them go off, snap, go for any major points, cause any major change, difference makers. You're going to be good. You know what I mean?
Are you changing your tune about the Nets? Did the ride get easier? Are you holding firm to what you said last time?
I think they can beat the Bucks.
I
think they can beat the Bucks. I think they can't. But Harden's out now.
So what? Go ahead. My bad.
Okay.
My bad.
I was about to say that's a big factor in it. But I think Brooklyn's still going to get past them. But my surprise is I think Atlanta is the worst matchup for Brooklyn.
No.
Who else is left? Who's a worse?
I agree with you last week when you said Philly.
But that was with Joel Embiid though.
Joel Embiid's out there.
He tore his meniscus the other day.
He
played last night or the other night.
It didn't seem like that was making him that much out of the game plan.
I'm just saying that's now. We're talking about a series from now if they have to meet each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. That was prior. You know what I mean? I'm not taking the 80% Joel Embiid against the Nets. You know what I mean?
But then we got to see what happens with Harden.
True.
We'll talk about that as it comes, but we thank you for another episode of Show Me Sports. If you like what you're listening to, just like it. You know what I'm saying? If you like what you like, then like it.
Yeah.
Right? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Like the video, like the page, check out our other social media outlets. Comment, let us know what you think, how bad we sucked, you know what I mean, what you loved about the show, what we could do better, whatever you feeling, let us know. And most importantly, share it with your friends, share it with your coworkers, family members, all that good stuff. And we'll come back with y'all. We'll come back with y'all another time.
Whenever.
Maybe next week.
Maybe. I don't know.
Week after that.
No, maybe tomorrow. We gonna be back. I'm just playing. We gonna be back next week.
We in the studio now. I'm gonna look at every time I come in here. I'm gonna look at this. And just look at this.
Hey, we're going to do something with this.
The woodwork,
It's nice.
Shout out to Lenny for letting us borrow the studio one more time. Until next time, we'll holler at y'all later. Peace.